come down to what drops, how they manage their inventory, which is a big part of this run, and their execution on the bosses with what they're given. So don't expect a lot of interesting or uninteresting shopping segments here. We'll see if they do a 2 or 3 shopping route. I think we'll see some variants, but looks like we are underway.
Indeed, we are. And from the story perspective, in the beginning, we are starting off after Risky Revenge, so we don't have any genie powers anymore. So Shantae wakes up, sees that the town getting attacked, and is trying to save the town, of course.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard script for the Shantae game. Seems it starts out this way very consistently, and Shantae, obviously, even though she doesn't have her powers, is helped by Sky and Bolo. They give her a couple of very nice items right up front that the runners will be able to use later. So it's nice to get some free inventory out of the start there. We'll see how many of these soldiers both runners opt to kill. They generally, from my experience for both of them, don't go for a lot. They'll go for kind of the gray-suited ones there because they have the better drop chance and hope for a little bit of RNG to play in their favor here. But for the most part, I think they'll skip as many as possible because for the charge and everyone that you hit, it does tend to slow things down a little bit.
Yeah, and Turkey and Bird both start off with using the Pike Ball. It saves a little bit in here, but mostly it's used for the boss that's coming up. And if we activate that this early, we can save a lot, some time on the way as well. So it's a good way to have some kind of time save. And we're not seeing any fancy strats here, apparently.
No, they're both using that Pike Ball, which means that neither one are going to go with the Pike Ball as strat. It's just a safety thing. Pretty much guarantees that you'll get the 3-cycle Baron with that. TKY cashing in on 1 extra Pike Ball drop right off the very last guard before entering the boss fight here, but both getting what I would call a little subpar RNG. There's been quite a few charges, although Turkey's getting luckier with the earlier red ball. So RNG kind of being mean to both of them, but nothing too bad. 2:10 is a pretty average time overall, and we're only about a second apart as 17 Bird gets very similar RNG from Ammo Baron as well. So good fights from both of them. We're kind of getting ready to enter our long cutscene part here and get ready for the real part of the run as we skip through a lot of text at this point.
Indeed, and from a story perspective, we see that we get the court summons. That's the reason, because the guy in the tank is actually the owner of Scuttletown. Weirdly enough, we sold this whole town in the last game for a box of chocolate. So yeah, we kind of destroyed and attacked the mayor of town, so we have to go to court because of that.
Mm-hmm. And sadly, yes, and to kind of wash those woes away, she decides to go take a bath, but realizes at the last second she doesn't actually own one. And Risky Boots, being the nefarious, crafty woman that she is, has figured out a good way to capture our heroine and has now brought her into the fold of everything going on. She knows that there's this dark magic in the land that's starting to roam free and be a little bit more active, and her men have all disappeared, and she's here to show proof that there was definitely some things going on, but is accusing us of having taken them. But that's obviously not the case. And now we're going to try to help out who we've always had to kind of battle in all the previous games to this point. And we'll have to take down this nasty tackle bat, which will be the only one these runners will be killing in this particular run. These are kind of a plot device for a little bit better ending, a little much more satisfying ending in my opinion. But any percent, we don't care about them. This will be the only one that we actually kill and destroy because it's mandated by story. And then we'll be starting our adventure. But first, a little sidetracking. Can't leave town if we can't leave town yet. Trent, you want to explain why?
Yeah, basically the game has 2 things we have to get. First of all, the guard at the end of the town is like, yeah, I'm only letting through people who are actually going to the library. So first we need the library card from our friend Sky. And second of all, way forward special, we have to save in the beginning. It's in this game and the previous game and no other game you are restricted by that. Only in these 2 games. Which is still a thing I don't quite understand.
Oh my goodness, Turkey getting some very lucky RNG here. He's got a
Ooh.
pike ball, a super pike ball, and now a monster milk to cap it off here. He's going to be very, very happy with that. And hitting those scarecrows is intentional for that very reason. You want to bank on some RNG, even though the drop chances are low. Those guys can really arm you to the teeth going into the next part of the run, or like the next couple of islands. So Turkey getting a very early advantage from an RNG perspective. But we'll see if the snakes don't troll him here. First things first, they're going to do a little bit of item duplication. So killing those snakes in the small area with the scimitar bounce takes advantage of the fact that these snakes have a lingering hitbox when they die. And you can hit them up to 3 times. And every time you hit that hitbox, you get the RNG roll for flesh pops. You need 3. And I think Turkey got 4, and 17 didn't have too much trouble with his either. So we get Bolo's Fair. He gives us this Royal Gate Key. And that brochure that we picked up is just going to be a little bit of a skip ahead of story here, as we're going to run over to Squid Baron here, hand him that brochure, and send him on his happy way to a vacation that hopefully he will enjoy, because he's not feeling too good about things right now.
Yeah, he's actually mad that he's not a boss in this game. Oh, little does he know.
Well, he's more like having a little depression. I mean, you know, he knows that it feels like it's another adventure starting. He's going to be another mid-boss. He's tired of being a mid-boss, but, you know, a little depression there. But Shantae kind of feels for him, gives him that brochure, and he's really excited to look forward to a little bit of R&R elsewhere.
Yeah. Rest and relax. Rest and relax.
Yep.
Oh, no, we have the map. Actually, oddly placed in the library. What a coincidence. So with that, what Risky actually asked us to do is getting the map to go to the next island. And basically, we got the map, so now we know where to go next. As Turkey is going all the way back to the ship, trying to cash in on some RNG.
Yeah, he had that pike ball drop, which gives him the advantage of killing those orcs, which you can't do in a charge. Netting another super pike ball from the scarecrows on the way back, where Bird is just getting blanked right now.
The whole time.
Yeah, Turkey and is pretty much set up for the 2-shop route if he wants to go that way. You have to keep a close eye on what he does here. He's got enough gems to do it. You need 150 to enable the 2-shopping route. He buys 4 flares, which are used to kind of navigate back to port really quick. Nope, he's going to go early potions. Again, not buying the super pike ball. I can't blame him when you net 2. And 17 Bird just doing 3 flares and a super pike ball. So he'll be following the more traditional 3-shop route. Turkey will now kind of enable himself for a potential 2-shop route. I think RNG's now got to play in his favor a little bit. But he's definitely going to have to do an extra shop before going, I think, the catacombs in this particular regard. But I don't fault his purchasing there with 2 super pike balls already in hand.
Who knows how many pirate flares he actually can get from these lovely bad girls later.
Yeah, we'll see. That'll be another point of interest on that one too. There's so many different philosophies on routes, and some of them may be a little longer than others, but you can make up that time based on RNG, and it's kind of the fun part of this run is it's kind of dynamic. You know, there's not a 100% set right way of doing certain things in this particular game, so RNG obviously dictates some of the direction that you have to go, and you get the flexibility of how you deal with that RNG through your shopping in this one to mitigate whatever you're missing. So, any rate, Saliva Island here, they're just going to have to go through here. We're investigating to find these dens of evil. TKY doing those pauses on purpose. He was actually going for an additional little time save there. Didn't quite get it, and neither did 17 Bird, but the pauses will guarantee the other half of it, where for whatever reason that pausing will skip the blinking animation of the Gigalomix before he opens his mouth and starts drooling. Saves a good couple of seconds there. Alternately, if they can fall off the ledge as they trigger that dialogue, it also would save the time that Hamstink takes to get into the nostrils. Unfortunately, neither runner getting that, but still, getting the free time save that is available there.
Yeah. Both now collected the Petrify spell, thanks to both cute girls helping us out with the light. And little that we know, the Petrify spell is actually needed, because right here on Turkey's screen, you see the old man trying to resurrect his dead wife, who was petrified, And he sees the petrify spells, takes the chance, and tries to petrify. Okay.
Petrify on petrify equals petrify, I'm afraid. It's just kind of how it is. So at least I can say that they are together again. It's always a good thing.
Oh, convenient. They opened up our way into the first dungeon, as Turkey is going immediately into a secret dungeon right after. This is a homage to the first game of the Shantae series, which is the first dungeon, and we kind of replay the first dungeon a little bit and use something very, very good about the keys in this game.
Yeah, so the advantage of the keys in this game is they're not locked to the dungeon that you actually collect them in. So this little sidetrack through this Easter egg put in by Way Forward is to allow them to grab 2 keys ahead of time, which they will be used in a later part of the run, which saves a significant amount of time, even though we're taking a little bit of a sidetrack here. And you'll notice Turkey putting those potions that he purchased to work by doing some animation skips. When you trigger a consumable item like a piece of food or a potion, at the time that you're collecting the key, you're able to overwrite that animation that you see 17 Bird doing and do the consumable animation, which is a good couple of seconds shorter. So anytime that you can do those across the run, it starts to add up, especially if you can do 5 or 6 of them, because you save a decent chunk of time just every time that you're able to do it. But now they've got their keys collected, they are now making their way through the rest of this dungeon. Again, the pirate gear kind of trivializes a lot of it. This is normally where you just pick up a pistol in a normal playthrough, but having all of them, you're kind of able to skip all of these intended little routes of moving the elevator cages back and forth and everything, and moving through this particular one. And Turkey, unsurprisingly, obviously, he's going to be using the monster milk here in the Wetman Gauntlet room, which is going to make very quick work of him. You'll see the difference it makes based on how long it's going to take 17 Bird to do. And being able to kill him that fast means that that buff is still in play for the upcoming boss, Cyclops plant. And Turkey, he could cultivate us a little bit of information about Cyclops.
Yeah, Turkey is running right now. It's a bit difficult for him to tell us. But...
Oh, I said Trent, sorry.
It's okay.
Wow.
Well, now we go to the first phase where Turkey had a little bit of trouble, but get it very quickly. We use the same technique we used on the snakes in the sewers to kill the first phase of this boss and the second phase of this boss very, very quickly. The thing is, Turkey has the monster milk and already defeated the boss before I even could finish my sentence. Wow,
yeah, that monster milk makes a huge difference there. I mean, it cuts these cycles down significantly, and again, you'll see how the time differs based on 17 Bird's side, where he doesn't have that monster milk in play. He still handles that fight extremely well with the resources given to him, or not given to him in this case. Turkey's just taking advantage by using that monster milk. It really cuts that fight about half the time, I'd say, since the monster milk doubles your damage output, and then we'll be taking his map and running right off of the island here, and we'll be on our way to our next destination here very shortly.
Yeah, Spiderweb Island, the best island of all islands. Every speedrunner agrees on that, because in this is a very, very, very great section of a game that we can't even fathom to talk about. But first, we need to collect some stuff here before we can get there. So on the way, we are actually going all the way. These zombies, we don't care. It's zombies, they are slow. And now we're in these up-going sections where we see ghosts spawn. We know where they can spawn around. They have several spawn points, but they sometimes can be such, let's say, in a way that we still get hit. And if that happens, that actually loses a lot of time, because yeah, we get fallen back down and have to climb again. As Turkey is going into our favorite section, which I let you explain.
Oh, gee, you're such a great guy, Trent. I appreciate it. I guess that's what I get for calling you Turkey. So we find our good friend Roddy Tops here, about to be eaten by a spider, but we shoo it off, And then Roddy sits there and goes, "Oh, I've been bitten and my legs are starting to get numb. I need you to carry me through," and takes us into this game's version as close as possible as they've created for it as a auto scroller can be. And you'll notice the HUD disappears. You have no health meter. There is no money or anything to be done. And you get to play this fun little platforming section with extremely good music as Gatekeeper. And we know Turkey, he's going to keep going. Okay, he only got one from Gatekeeper. That's not bad. But at any rate, as Turkey demonstrated there, anything that touches you, it's a one-shot kill. It's not game over. You just get punished by being set back to the beginning of the room in which you take the hit. So ideally, in a speedrun, you don't want to take any hits if at all possible. And he tried to manipulate that tongue down below. Looks like he shuffled a little too soon, so I had to wait that one out, which is unfortunate, but getting at least a favorable cycle here. But again, this section is about 4.5 minutes to 5 minutes optimally, and there's nothing you can do to get around it, and especially in this room where Turkey is now with these pillars, they run on a cycle, and you're basically at the whim of that cycle, so you can't do anything to get around them or manipulate it. You just kind of have to wait it out. So this part feels like the eternity. There's a lot more fun in store that Run Roddy Tops has to offer here.
Yeah,
a couple of different things here, but there's more to come.
Some of these rooms are actually eternity, especially if you get hit very, very at the end, because you have to replay the whole screen again. And we don't want that. Especially some rooms are as long as 40 to 50 seconds. That just does hurt. As Turkey is going to the graveyards. And yeah, some of these gravestones do move. That's the reason why he jumps over certain ones, even though they don't move. Because we know that they move, but we don't know when they move. And yeah, basically to avoid any chance that we get hit, we jump over them anyway.
Yeah, Turkey doing a little bit of swag there by doing the stake jumps, so that'll make a certain person in the chat very happy to see. Just a bit of swag, it doesn't save any time. Just kind of one of the things that some of us runners in the community have deemed has to be done in order for your run to be validated, as 17 Bird snubs the stake jump there and refuses to do them. So at least in the hearts and minds of some of us, we know who the true winner already is of this particular race.
Indeed. As we go and see these kissy robots, they actually only want to kiss Shantae, and apparently that kiss is that strong that we die, which is weird.
You know, love hurts, Trent. Love hurts.
True. As Turkey now approaches the next room, little called Stevens. And they have mini Stevens they shoot.
Yeah, and Stevens became the meme of this tournament. They were dubbed by one of the participants named Cabbage, who was doing some commentary early in the tournament, and started just calling him Stevens, and it kind of stuck. We just kind of kept with it. I mean, it's a very family-friendly name for him, so why not? And I think it'll hang around for a very long time there. Turkey not getting the gates of hell open, but still managing that room extremely well and saving about a half a second by doing that little jump over the last Steven there. It's a very risky trick if you happen to get your timing wrong. As Bird's in a pincer. Oh no, that's going to be painful for Bird. Oh, that's what can happen. So those Stevens control by doing little things like this, and they get you caught where you can't really do anything more bad. Oh no, and trying to set up the taco jump and missing that too. Oh, so those are two relatively costly deaths, especially since now the spikes are going to be in the cycle of keeping him from progressing very quickly. So this is a very unfortunate set of circumstances as Turkey gets out of Run Roddy Tops. Really good run. I mean, he had a little trouble early on with the tongue skips, but after that, well done by him. Bird will now be finishing in the most punishing room here. This is the most difficult one. They throw everything at you pretty much at once, and if you take a death at the end, and those tombstones have a tendency to be a little bit trolly sometimes, it does cost you up for about 40 seconds. So to see if 17 Bird can at least escape after having that extremely rough circumstance there and can move forward.
Yeah, as Turkey is actually progressing on the fetch quest, and he's repairing a card with squid oil, which we need to turn the wheels, not to repair the wheel. Please. Oh, we got a shrivel thing.
Oh, status check. It smells. It always smells.
It always smells. Come on.
I dream of a day that the shriveled thing doesn't smell.
Would be
Although
great.
I still make the argument it doesn't specify how it smells. I mean, for all we know, it could just smell good. It just says it smells, but it doesn't specify. So,
Well, the other thing is it smells. Maybe it, like the shrill thing smells. Who knows?
look, it does look like a face. It does have nose holes, so maybe it does smell. Very true. Very true. But at any rate, we're going to offload that as quickly as possible. This dungeon was very hungry and wanted that, and the shriveled thing was exactly what it was looking for. So we use that to enter our next Den of Evil, and Turkey, trying to get some drops off those skeletons, something did drop, but kind of hit it towards the latter part of its hitbox, so it wasn't awarded the actual drop that was there. And as kind of unexpectedly, he's going this lower route here. Does manage to get an extra pike ball from the last skeletons right before the Batgirl. And then we'll see what the Batgirl does. She has a good chance of dropping either Super Monster Milk or Super Pike Ball. I'd like to see a Milk there. He gets a Super Pike Ball, which is much better than the Nori Flare or nothing.
The Nori Flare. I
Yeah,
remember that.
Yeah, I think you said that on Thursday.
Maybe. Anyway, now let's see. Bird getting actually a Pike Ball, going on the way as well to the Batgirl. Yeah, he's really going there. Not using any fancy strats. Sadly.
Yeah, this is more of the more traditional and standard route. I mean, there are some different schools of thought here. I think that not many people are fully adoptive of some other ones. It's on the weighing post on whether or not, is it really a time safe to maybe take an alternate method. The 17 Bird getting blanked by the Batgirl there, that's going to be very unfortunate. I was hoping with that Pike Ball drop that maybe things would start to turn around from an RNG perspective. But so far, this game is being very stingy to 17 Bird at the moment.
Yeah, apparently 17 people don't get as much as one turkey.
Apparently not. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But Trent now, or not Trent, but Turkey going into our next boss here, the Emperor Spider. He triggered that Pike Ball before entering the room. This just allows him to get set up. And what he's going to be doing here is trying to stay up in the air and within the spider's hitbox. So he's employing a little mechanic where if you whip just before you take actual damage, Shantae gets stunned, but that stun recharges her cannon shots and her jumping ability in midair. And using that to his ability, stays up in that hitbox, and that was an absolutely fantastic kill. It's a bit of a risky strat because you are taking damage throughout that entire thing, and ending with a quarter heart or even a half heart of health is highly potential, and you don't want to lose your auto potion. It's a good safety net or something that can be used later for a potential skip, depending on runner's preference and confidence level of doing that. So fantastic fight by Turkey there. That was absolutely done. We'll see how 17 Bird does as he now is entering the fight as well. So far, so good on his end.
Turkey using the flare to go to the boat. And Bird's still fighting. Ooh.
To be very close. He kind of lost the spider there at the end, wisely getting out of the way and taking a little safe to not trigger his auto potion going off. Still a really good fight by 17 Bird. I mean, the spider did troll him just a little bit by moving a little out of reach there towards the end, which caused that. But well handled by 17 Bird. He also maintains his auto potion as well. So both runners still doing very good jobs here as Turkey gets blanked by the cacti. We hit those on purpose. They have a good chance of dropping one item that's necessary or at least very desirable for endgame, and then other items that they could use throughout the run. But Turkey only getting just a handful of gems from them, and maybe the well dries up a little bit for Turkey, but we'll find out.
Oh, right. Squid Baron. Totally forgot him. We sent him here with a brochure to his fair holidays, which next time we should really check the schedule. It was apparently off-season.
Yeah, the only thing floating around were the scorpion gals and old people in wolf clothing, so he's very disappointed by said vacation, and he's not too happy about it. 17 Bird also getting blanked by the cacti as well, but getting a nice momentum with boots there. That was actually great. So that saves him a good couple of seconds, and probably a good 3 seconds in that regard, where he's going to ignore the gems underneath. I don't think he feels he needs them, but being able to continue that charge is basically a frame-perfect trick, and he did that very, very well. being able to at least make up a little bit of ground there, where Turkey decided to go low, grab those gems, and then had to reset up his charge. So this is again the skill of these runners. Only 17 Bird, and he's like the most consistent, I'd say, at momentumless boots.
Indeed, I have to agree on you with that. But
Yeah.
on Turkey's side, we saw that he used the X-ray specs that Squid Baron gave us to look inside the sarcophagus and get a code out of there. As Turkey now approaches Sky's Emily? What?
There's a lot happening in Sky's here. Yeah, Mom and Dad came for a visit. Oh, they're just there to make sure that Sky remains single. That's what it was. So that poor fellow there that's now a stone statue became Sky's kind of boyfriend. You know, he was doing some work in town, touched some bird's nest. She nearly ripped his arm off, but then they had a cup of coffee and talked things through. Mom and Dad apparently got word of this very, very fast, came for a visit. But Dad's a little protective of his daughter and had Joe read that sarcophagi, which unfortunately had some very nasty results. Fortunately for us, we have the X-ray specs. We're immune to those curses, and we'll get to an instant replay here on 17 Bird's side of Joe's demise.
At this moment, he died. Poor guy, poor fella. As Turkey is going to get a certain item and running through skeletons without any drops.
Ooh, wow, that is very unfortunate. I mean, normally you'd see at least 1 or 2 pike balls there, but an absolute blank on the first charge through is a little painful.
Okay.
I think they were all regular pike balls for Turkey on the way through, so I think RNG, well, is running a little dry. We'll see what happens with 17 Bird here, is, again, neither of them... oh, never mind.
Ooh.
Look at that. The Bubble Shield Monster Milk combo from the Cacti and another Monster Milk. So here we go. RNG is now swaying, as it tends to do in these runs. Like, you could start out with great RNG and then have the well dry up, and in a late, other way, you could have nothing in the beginning, but then all of a sudden just open the floodgates. I think Bird at least got 1 super in there.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think there was 1 in there. As well as he... Oh, there was one.
There was one. There was definitely 1 on the way back. So, 17 Bird starting to see some good RNG finally. I'm sure he's very happy and relieved to see that. As Turkey starts... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's an interesting combination. He got fish, fish, bird, and Turkey got bird, bird, fish.
Yeah, I was going to make note of that, how a bird just seemed to be in the code for at least Turkey. I didn't catch 17s, but yeah.
That was interesting. As Turkey got captured... Okay, he got captured and now trying to escape. Wow.
You scared me for a second. I'm like, I didn't see him get caught. But yeah, so Tanland Temple, when we enter, the first thing that happens is we're mistaken for the temple's princess. And to celebrate our coronation, they first throw us in prison after taking away our majority of our clothing here. And we have to get out. But this is a stealth section, so rather than being forceful and fighting our way out, we're going to sneak our way out. And the main thing about this one, and this can be a definite run killer, is trying to avoid being caught by these rather short-sighted and tunnel vision guards. But they cost you a lot of time in the run, especially that last room, which Turkey did the 1 cycle just fine, but that room could be the most punishing. If you get caught there, you lose upwards of a minute in time here. We'll see how 17 Bird does as well. So far, so good out of the first 2 rooms. He was neither one of them opting for the gems above that key, so I think both are relatively happy, at least with their inventory, sure that they're keeping mental track of everything that's going on here. 17 Bird also setting up for the 1 cycle. Ooh, that was okay, smartly jumped there. I thought he was late. And this is what I mean by tunnel vision. They have like a vertical plane that you can jump over a little bit just to make sure that you're not seen there. So that jump by him saved him from being seen there and costing him about 55 seconds.
Yeah. So, the people, maybe you guys remember that we collected some keys in the beginning of the game. This is the place where we use them. We have the 2 extra keys, and we will use them in here to basically speed up a lot of the stealth section because we want our pirate gear back. And
yeah, this is punishing. Like, if you were to try to get the keys you need to get through here, you notice you need 3. The other ones are really deep in this palace, and it takes a significant amount of time to collect them. So the amount of time we spent in that retro dungeon Easter egg from Way Forward saves a significant amount of time here, not having to deal with everything there, because there are other stealth rooms you have to get through, plus the winding passages, and it just takes a while. Get an inventory check from Turkey. It's only got the one super monster milk, a couple of super pike balls, and then regular pike. So Turkey's going to hope for some monster milk drops as he's making his way to the catacombs.
Bird actually was in the shop menu and got 5 pirate flares, so he set up a 2-shop route apparently.
Okay. If he had the gems for it, it's not bad, but the problem is now he's banking on RNG for all of his offensive needs. So the pike balls and the milk drops are what he's going to be banking on very heavily here. And we'll see. The catacombs is a really good spot. Turkey getting his bubble shield, so he'll be relieved to see that as he's got what he needs for the pirate master at the end of the fight here, or end of the game, and opting to go with a little bit of a strat that Trent here, my co-commentator, came up with, where he went for this particular key instead, which will cut one out of the run later, in the hopes of getting a drop from that Scorpcal, which unfortunately just gave him the 75% gem.
Yeah. The money prize.
Yeah, the money prize. Was that another momentumless boots by Bird? I believe it was.
I think so it was as well. Couldn't quite catch it. But yeah, it looked very, very like that.
Yeah,
and Turkey going for 2 Scorpcals right now, and having 1 Super Monster Milk and another money prize. Oh baby.
Yeah, so he's going to be a little low on milk for the remainder of the run at this point, but Turkey, being the veteran of this run that he is, he's not afraid to take some bosses milkless. We'll see which ones he chooses for. I'm already going to say Dagron is one of them. We'll see which other one he maybe opts out on the milk strats for, but he can handle these bosses no matter what. Get a super pike ball and a super monster milk from 17 Bird from the gauntlet room, so again, 17 Bird kind of reaping the rewards of RNG, swinging in his favor at this point. That should help, and maybe got the 1 cycle. It's going to be close. Ooh. Oh, man. That was probably 1 frame away from taking a switch there.
It was close. Ooh.
Yeah, that was an extremely tight 1 cycle, but nailing it, making up just that little bit of extra ground where Turkey did not get his. So this is becoming an extremely tight match again here. And now it's going to come down to good old Squid Baron, which both of them are currently facing at this point. Turkey being on script. This fight is a scripted battle. Squid Baron always does the same patterns. A little bit of RNG in regards to like where his jumps go, but it's always a charge, a jump phase, a charge, and then he goes into an eating phase to heal. And Turkey nailing it on script makes very quick work of him with what look like full buffs. He went super monster milk, super pike ball. And we're going to see Bird using a regular monster milk and a super pike ball. So Turkey will make up that little ground that 17 Bird made up with the 1 cycle here, but still a very good fight from him as well. And,
still on script.
Still on script, very well handled with the lower buffs. You just have to hit him a few times after the fact because you didn't quite get the DPS you needed. But still, really, really good. And you got still a very tight race.
Indeed. Turkey right now going to Scuttletown, doing some story progression because, yeah, we need to go to Mudbog Island now, the casual nightmare, how we sometimes call it, because everyone who played the game casual died there at least once. At least.
Yeah, that place is very brutal. It's also not a lot of, not aesthetically pleasing either here, but again, this... getting that mask is the most important thing. A lot of runners, at least in their kind of beginning months of learning this, in the interest of going fast, will sometimes forget, I didn't get this death mask, and it's very disheartening to have gone through this upcoming island, get to the end of it, and realize I can't progress because I forgot to get something I needed.
It would never happen to me.
No, I don't think it's ever happened to any of us, Brent, I'll be honest. All right, but Turkey, again, this is kind of a fun platforming section. There's a lot going on here. There's a ceiling, there's some bumps in the floor, so running straight through isn't the easiest thing to do. You've got to kind of memorize what you need to do and when you need to do it so that you can maintain your charge and get through here quickly. And any mistake can be a little costly, because if you do get hung up on anything, the monsters here will mob you rather quickly. And although their damage isn't too high, I think the most damage you can take from anything in this is like 2 points. That's not necessarily a problem, but how quickly they mob you is where it becomes an issue, and you can get juggled around a little bit and cause you some issues. But Turkey had absolutely no problem getting through there. It looks like 17 Bird is well on his way and navigated that very, very well too. So both runners knowing exactly what they need to do, when they need to do it, get through unscathed, and start beginning our collection quest of coins. And I'm not sure why. I don't think Shantae is much of a hoarder of money. So Trent, why are they collecting these coins?
Yeah, actually, we see that they collect 3 different colored coins. Basically, for the people that Turkey is going past right about now, these 3 gamblers, how we nicely call them, are there to play a coin flip for a locket. And they don't have coins, so yeah, first we need to collect all 3 coins, and then we play a very, very great skill-heavy game called coin flipping. Basically, heads or tails, and yeah, we as speedrunners obviously try to nail that every first time with our skill execution and whatsoever. But RNG being RNG, of course, you have a 50-50% chance if it's heads or tails, and you have to get it 3 times in a row. Ugh.
Yeah, it's one of the more brutal parts of the run, and actually can cost you a significant amount of time. But you hope for RNG to be on your side. It's not always on your side, but you just deal with it the best you can. And ideally, you want to get 3 heads. We decide that menuing the tails is slow, and you hope to get that, but it doesn't always work. But these guys can literally troll you. Green Gamer apparently wanting to be the big one for Turkey today. Finally lets him pass, but oh, there it is, the tails from the Red Gamer. So this is probably not the best gamers for poor Turkey over there, and will allow 17 Bird to potentially catch up here as he's now starting his go with the gamers. We'll see how it goes. And the one advantage that all runners have is that eventually, after 3 losses, the game just gives you the win for your 4th one, no matter what you choose. So it will. It's kind of a fail-safe that's programmed in by WayForward, so you're not constantly at this part forever dealing with RNG. 3 losses, and then the next one's a guaranteed win. So 17 Bird didn't quite get as trolled, even though he got trolled a little bit there. Made up just a little bit of time, though, with the slightly, I'll say, better RNG, but it's not really better.
Yeah. Now we got the locket, gave it to that Cherish girl. It kind of reminds me of someone. I don't know.
Yeah, very healthy. Yeah, very healthy, less green colored girl that maybe we've seen before. But
yeah, she gave us a flame. We used to create a fire in the underground, and obviously the Shadow Man is not a fan of us and gives us some stings, so we leave.
Yeah, that manly must, though, is necessary to open up this dungeon that 17 Bird just did and Turkey did a minute ago. This Oubliette of Suffering only lets the smelliest of the smelly in, and that manly must fit the bill. So Turkey right now demonstrating just how broken the Risky Shuffle is. It allows us to negate about 80% of this overall dungeon by completely ignoring the fact that the actual intended way is to get those elevators lined up so you can run across and run through that with that block. But the Risky Shuffle, being one of the primary tricks of the speed run, just allows us to say, you know what, no, I just want to go right to the boss. The 17 Bird will now demonstrate just one more time, and it's the most beautiful trick that was ever discovered in this speed run. And Turkey going to be facing Dagron right now, and doing so as I kind of figured he would. Super Pike Ball, but no milks. And I don't fault him for this choice. I mean, again, he's hurting a little bit on the actual buff standpoint. This should still get him a good 4 cycle, I believe. And he's handling the fight extremely well. He's getting a lot of long swoops from Dagron, which are easier to manage than these middle ones. 17 Bird kind of demonstrating why the middle one's a little more iffy, because you have that high potential to get hit even when you knock Dagron down. So you can still make up a little ground here, but that regular Pike Ball isn't going to help too much on the matter. It's going to be more down to the hair strikes.
Yeah, indeed. But this boss is actually the reason why we sometimes want these things, because this boss getting faster and faster the lower in health he is. And Yeah, if you get hit once, there's a very high likelihood that you get hit twice or even die on him. He's
Yeah.
not a friendly fellow.
Yeah, that boss can end runs very, very quickly, especially if you miss and let things get out of control. If he knocks you down, you're likely towards the latter part to take a second hit, and that's upwards of 6 points of damage you're taking, which, for those keeping track at home, that 2 hearts that both runners are using is only 8 HP. So most of your health is gone in 2 swings of Dagon if the right part of it hits you. But regardless, they both handled that boss extremely well. 17 Bird having a little problem with the invisible wall just inside this room here. I think he got hung up both times that he went through it. And it's going to cost him a couple of seconds just so he can get his charge back up. But once they're out of there, we're going to go from hot to cold and start traversing Frostbite Island. And to Majati's point in chat, I think that Turkey might actually skip these wolves, who only have a 1% chance of dropping either a Super Pike Ball or Super Monster Milk. And I don't think he necessarily needs to. I mean, he needs maybe a few more gems for an item or two. He's actually going to go for him. One for money. I think, if anything, worst case scenario, money, but that Super Pike Ball drop working in his favor. I think he still would like to have seen a milk, and I think he's going to keep going for it. Another Super Pike Ball.
Wow.
Yeah, for those, again, who heard me, I said 1% chance to drop, and he just got 2.
Well, very weird 1% sometimes.
Yeah, that's a very odd 1% at times. Looks like 17 Bird is also going to try to take out some of these wolves in the hopes that RNG feeds him a little bit as well. We'll see what happens on that as Turkey begins his way into Propeller Town.
Without setup.
Yeah, I noticed that too. He didn't do the setup for the auto potion jump, so I think he knows what's at stake here and like to keep the safety just in case anything disastrous happens on these last 2 bosses, and I can't fault him on that. There's a lot at stake in this particular race, so he's going to play it as safe as possible, keep his safety in pocket, and just kind of deal with the roundabout platforming here, which I find probably the most satisfying of the entire run.
Yeah, this shows how much WayForward actually had the cannon already in mind when they built this. It really shows how all the pirate gear combined can have some beautiful platforms, and even though we have several very long rooms with the boots and with the cannon and the hat in combination, actually very, very beautiful to watch.
Yeah, when executed beautifully, it feels good. It's fun to watch. And I see 17 Bird taking a dive there in that room. He might be setting up to try the APJ, so we're going to see at least an attempt at the auto potion jump, most likely from 17 Bird side here.
Yeah, the auto potion jump basically is jump where you shouldn't be jumping. The thing auto potion is one of the only items that can be used in the air, and after 3 cannons you want to use it, then you have a 2-frame window to jump in the air as it would be normal flat ground, and then you have 3 extra cannonballs again to make it up there. But sadly he didn't got it. Lost only 5 seconds.
Yeah, he lost a couple of seconds for the menuing. He'll lose another couple of seconds to menu back to his pirate flair here. I mean, it's worth it, you know. It feels like it should save 10 seconds, but when you start to throw in things like menuing time, it maybe cuts it in half, the time save potential overall. But it's still, you know, I think a very fun strat, and we can thank Trent for that one as well, who came into the scene with this tournament and was thinking things through and then mused about, you know, damage double jumps, which are leveraged in a couple of different games. But we kind of validated it. It works, and it's, again, a very tight trick, and you lose your safety net, but still a lot of fun to attempt as well as to nail when you do get it.
Oh, Turkey actually farming more.
Yeah, Turkey still looking for, I would say, a milk. I mean, he has enough money to buy a Super Monster Milk right now. I think he's just hoping for that extra drop. It doesn't look like he's going to be afforded that one. I think the Scarecrows gave him everything they were going to at the beginning. So he's just trying to get a little bit of cash, if anything, overall here, as he does his last bit of this Fest Pledge, nailing his favorite trick, his personal favorite trick. We feel sorry for Mr. Branson here, but he's going to take a pirate flare to a very unfavorable spot, and Turkey will be extremely happy with that, as it's the one he came up with on his own.
Poor Branson.
Poor Branson. 17 Bird, I'm not sure if he's made up his mind on whether he wants to hit these scarecrows or not. He hit a couple there, but now looks to be avoiding them entirely, so he might be a little happier with where he's at from an item perspective, or was just trying to get just a few gems there, which he needed to kind of complete whatever he needs to purchase here. And after he does this section with the Ammo Baron and the Cannon Shot, we'll see what shopping, if any, Turkey goes for. I assume he's going to pop in the shop here, maybe buy a Super Monster Milk, potentially a potion for an animation skip, and go forward.
Let's see if he's going shopping. Let's see, what will he get? What will he buy?
Super Monster Milk and a potion. Yep.
Understandable.
So he's going for one animation skip with that potion. The Super Monster Milk is just that last one that he was missing for the run. So understandable with that. With the gems he got, he was able to pull that off. We'll see what 17 Bird sets up for his final one too. Going a Super Pike Ball and a Super Monster Milk, using every last bit of gems that he had. So again, both runners now set for endgame, and will be working their way towards it. Turkey, as anticipated, using that potion to skip an animation with the first key within Abandoned Factory here, our last Den of Evil. And we'll be skipping this vertical key most likely, and going for the one that's actually in the room here. Since he picked up that extra key in the catacombs, he only needs to grab 2. So. Oh, did 17 Bird forget his flares?
No, worse. He forgot to
he forgot to trigger the cannon. Oh no. That's the second thing that can happen if you're not paying attention. Yes, he forgot to actually fire the cannon, so when he got to where the abandoned factory was, he found it locked shut. And that is the worst feeling, and probably just cost him this race. I mean, it was extremely close up to this point, but that unfortunate mistake, he's going to pay the price for that one. All right, so Turkey now working on the RNG, the boss, the Steel Maggot here, getting a really good start with him here, using his knowledge of this boss to at least figure out the code relatively quickly, and also leveraging that kind of area there to get a pincer attack, dealing out enough damage to 2-cycle him very simply. So well fought by Turkey. We didn't get a chance to really talk about him because of what happened with 17 Bird there.
Sadly.
But that boss is pure RNG. The code of the buttons on the back is completely random, and you've got to kind of guess your way through it. And Turkey looked like he had a pretty decent fight in the overall scope of things, nailing him very, very easily, getting that pincer attack on the tail there in the first part.
Yeah, basically, we try to guess every time, and random being random. Sometimes it's 1 to 3, sometimes it's worse. Like we see. As Turkey now progresses to the Lonely Grave to finally attack the Pirate Master we all searched for. We got the pirate gear, we got all the things we need. Now let's head in and try to beat this guy.
Yeah, you see, we're a little bit of cutscene for that. 17 Bird doing his approach up on Steel Maggot. We'll see how his fight goes, but the Pirate Master awoken, and he's a very grouchy guy first thing in the morning. He wants his coffee. We didn't bring any, so as compensation, he's going to take Risky Boots away and go conquer the land, beginning with Scuttletown. So on our own now, we got to go and kind of save the day, and Scuttletown looks a little dark and spooky, as the Pirate Master has indeed moved in and taken things over. So Turkey will begin his trek to his final destination with that, as Bird is currently figuring out the code for the first round and trying to get that pincer on that. Unfortunately misses, losing a little bit of DPS opportunity here. We'll see if he can still squeeze out a 2-cycle. I think he's still using good hefty amount of buffs here, so should still be able to squeeze it off if he gets good damage here. He does. So well fought by 17 Bird. That was a really good fight considering. Got off to a little rough start, but handled it just fine. And Turkey begins the tower climb.
Yeah, the tower climb is basically a hat, 3 jumps, and another hat, basically giving us a little bit more than we need. To skip these rooms to the right and left. These rooms to the right and left are like the most difficult challenges you can get, and thanks to the hat that gives us 2 or 3 pixels up, we can actually skip those and the 3 to 4 minutes we would spend with each.
Yeah, and Turkey showing why he's the world record holder of the majority of these categories in this game. He did that perfectly fine, didn't miss a single one, and putting on a clinic, getting up there. But to Trent's point, those Pirate Master trials, I think they're actually known as within the game itself too. Very difficult platforming segments, very time consuming, and not easy to do. Although there are some strats that you can try to do to get through them. But Turkey getting through again, no problem here, and onto his fight with the Pirate Master. A little bit of RNG in the first phase as it teleports kind of back and forth. You want to see him teleport between one of the ends in the middle. Just gives you a chance to get some little extra DPS in, but I would say middle of the road, maybe lower end tier RNG for Turkey on that end, but easily still handling it out, using that bubble shield to ignore the projectiles and downing the Pirate Master with a 50-40 IRL and SRL time. So that's amazing. Fast. That's the lowest time put up in the tournament to date. Turkey had been putting up very low 51s pretty consistently throughout this tournament, and just puts up an amazing run. That's only 20 seconds off of his world record time.
Yeah, indeed. That's a very, very, very fast time. That was a very beautiful run, I have to say. Even though his Gatekeeper wasn't that nice.
No, Gatekeeper trolled him, but only the one time he had that really kind of nasty coin flick segment with the gamers, but otherwise it was an extremely solid run. Like, execution-wise, he was on it throughout the whole thing, so it's what he gets for that particular part. And we'll see 17 Bird now currently doing his tower climb to finish his run here. And also putting on a clinic. He's doing extremely well.
Indeed. That's a very clean climb. I would like to be able to do that.
Yeah, he's not hesitating between each actual segment, too. So, he misses on that last little bit there. I mean, it's just a minor loss there. But, again, very well handled. Like, I struggle after 3 years of running this game to do that. I know many other people struggle to kind of get that pretty consistently. So we're at least seeing the skill level of Turkey and 17 here. Just why they are where they are on the leaderboards and how they ended up in the tournament. So we'll see how his fight goes here, and then we'll get set up for race 2, which will be happening right away. So don't go anywhere. We've got at least one more race to do, potentially 2, if 17 Bird can rally after this particular one and see if we can tie things up here. We actually will have the 3rd race immediately after that. So both these racers wanting okay to get this knocked out in one shot. 17 Bird should have him down. There it is. So GG to 17 Bird as well, completing his run with a 52.56 SRL time. So well run by him as well. It's right around the area of what he averaged throughout the tournament. Maybe a little lower, but with the way RNG treated him early, I'm not surprised by that time. But it was really, really well done, even by 17 Bird, for what little of RNG gave him throughout that way.
Yeah, that RNG in the beginning wasn't pretty. I don't wish that anyone.
No, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, let's hope it will be better in the next race, which is coming up right now. As we gonna set it up, don't please go anywhere. It will be in roughly 5 minutes.
Yeah, just give me a minute to track some things here, and then we'll get a second race room open for these 2 gents. 50-40. And just while I'm doing that, Trent, I mean, overall thoughts on that? Is this living up to what you expected coming in, or?
Oh, this is by far better than I expected it to be. I obviously hope that Bird takes the next one, obviously, because I want the 3rd race of these 2 very, very good runners. So let's see how that next race will go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I expected really tight matches from these two, and I don't think they're disappointing. Only just like a minute, 2 minutes behind each other at this particular one. So again, I'm getting my money's worth on this particular one.
I hope the viewers are as well satisfied with these races. How are you guys?
Sorry, just confirming a few things here we were talking about earlier on there, so apologies for the slight delay here. Again, we're just kind of getting set up for the next one. I'm sure that the racers are at least appreciating a small breather after that. I mean, these races can be a little stressful. They both know who their opponent is, and I'm sure we'll be happy to have a small chance to kind of regroup the nerves, kind of wipe the memory of this first race out so they don't mistake themselves as having items that they got in the first run versus this one. So
yeah, it can be sometimes very bad if you think, yeah, I have the super pike ball, and then remember, oh, it was the last race. Yeah, no one, I don't want to wish that to any of these two people, so that small breather in between the race is probably the same as we can grab some more popcorn, get a drink real quick as we set up the next race. I just hope that the RNG is better suited for Bird this next.
Yeah. Just getting the racers in there. I've gone ahead and opened the next room here, so no problem. We'll get that set up and ready, good to go. And we should probably be getting away getting underway here very, very shortly.
Indeed, indeed.
Got our timers reset. Looks like we are set here. So bearing with just a second. All right. Getting a thumbs up from our two runners. They don't need that much time. So we are going to get underway here very, very shortly. All right, so it looks like we're going to be getting underway again soon. So I expect this one. I know 17 Bird knows he's in the hole. He's going to be looking to get himself a win here. Obviously needs it. Turkey just needs one more win to secure his trip to the finals. 17 Bird now feels that pressure of having to win 2 in a row against a very talented runner and a guy who's been ahead of him on the leaderboard just by a little bit for a bit of time. So.
And yeah, looks like we are underway. Both racers are in. And I hear a countdown. And off we go.
Yep, off we go, or ret to go, as Shantae loves to say so much in these games. So, again, we'll start off again with the attack, and we'll see how RNG goes. Maybe we get a chance to talk about some things we missed with all the action that happened in that first race here. So again, they're going to get the usual fare, the pike ball, the auto potion right up front. We'll see if there's any change of strategies from either of these runners as well in regards to which soldiers they go for, if any changes there. Most likely not. They're pretty set in their routing in regards to who they want to kill for an item drop potential and not. But we'll see if gem count kind of changes a little bit here, because that is RNG.
Yeah. See what they get from these great guys. Okay, both climbing up. RNG not their favorite so far.
Yeah, so far not really doing any favors for either runner here. 17 Bird notably kind of squeezed through the shooting, the rightward facing soldier there. Normally you manipulate him to be shooting off to the left just to kind of keep things from getting hit there. So he got away with one, not getting hit or knocked backwards, which tends to happen in those particular circumstances. So well done there. And then that jump over Sky and Bolo is to actually avoid a cutscene trigger. You have a moment of dialogue with them, which eats a second. So both of them executing that very well. I know it's kind of painful to get caught by those two when you're feeling like you're already in a good flow and then having that interrupt. So Mo Baron, take two.
Let's see, and both of them are basically getting only shoots.
Yeah, good. Same RNG for both of them in the beginning here. Slight divergence at this point now is 17 Bird seeing the one thing you don't want to see from Ammo Baron, which is those charges. Nothing you can do about it. It's time consuming. The only way you can deal damage is by getting the red ball, knocking him out of the tank, and hitting him. So Turkey is going to win the day on this one again from an RNG perspective with a nice 208 kill. 17 Bird with a 214. So we got about a 6 seconds difference. It's not terrible. Definitely able to make that up. I mean, there's a lot of run left. So both really good times, I'd say. You know, Turkey's got the favorable end, but 214 is nothing to shake a stick at.
Oh god, 2 times in the same day going to court. This is not looking good. I think I need another buff.
Yeah, I think it is time for bath time number 2. Maybe this time we'll realize that thing isn't really ours, and there's a trap or a spring trap inside. Doesn't look like Shantae knows that again, though. One of these days, she might remember.
Hopefully, maybe we shouldn't clear her memory as well.
Well, she definitely cleaned her memory between runs here. Again, we'll hope to see if the runners do. I know running back-to-back like this, you tend to carry forward a little bit of memory of what you got the last time, and it can throw you off when you think you've got something. You go into a boss fight to use it and realize, oh, shoot, that was the prior run. I don't have that now. And then you have to adjust on the fly. So you have to be very, very mindful and be able to erase your memory if you're going to crank out runs like this in successful order. But again, we'll be taking out Mr. Cacklebat here. Just a side note, you know, there's 20 of these in the game. Again, we will only be taking out this one because it is a story mandatory one. And 17 Bird having a little struggle with his end. Getting a little out of control there, but and he's taking his frustration out on Risky, giving her 3 cannon shots with her own cannon. It's kind of funny, actually.
Indeed it is, but I can tell you guys, this Cacklebat isn't easy, even though Turkey makes it look easy. He can be very
a rhythm. There is a rhythm to it that once you get it down, it's relatively consistent. But each runner, what I find funny about that bat is each runner will take their own kind of way of dealing with it. Like I like to do a risky shuffle charge into it and hit it with 15 before I take it down. Others will just go with a very rhythmic pattern and kind of follow it around depending. But you know, I don't know that any one way is faster than the other. It's kind of a signature, I'd say, of how each runner takes that particular fight and puts their own little stamp onto it.
Lobster tail for Turkey and the Scarecrows, as Bird starting the Scarecrows.
Yeah, RNG still kind of more on Turkey's side of things right now. His gem count's a little iffy. The Orcs didn't give up much. He's only got about 29 gems, so mental box over on 17 Bird's side, but also gem counts of a bit of a concern for him too, depending. I think he's, again, the more traditional 3-shop route kind of guy, so he's probably less concerned about, you know, how much money he's got right at this point, just because of the way that it works. Oh, but that rat trolling Turkey a little bit there as he was trying to get in for the snake.
He got 3.
He did get 3. 17 Bird had a little trouble with that rat as well. Okay. Ooh, that was risky move by 17 Bird.
You can kill him immediately and save some time, but if you don't get the 50% drop, you have to go into the sewers and farm, and that's not great.
Yeah, that was a very risky move there. Could have cost him a few seconds if that snake decided it wasn't going to give up the goods today. Fortunately for him, he did. There's no major time loss there, and You know, he's kind of expressing his frustration with the extra pistol shots and whatnot. But I think he will rein it in and be able to corral this home. So again, he's only just a couple of seconds behind overall, as both are now going to again send our friend Squid Baron off to that wonderful vacation on Tamline Island. Hopefully it works out for him this time. Maybe this time it's not off season, but well, we only sent him that way about an hour ago. So I don't think seasons change that fast. Unless
Are you sure?
Yeah, certain parts of the world, maybe you disagree with that statement. But we're going to collect our map, make our way back out. This time, neither runner has a pike ball, so I anticipate skipping of these orcs. As per usual, the charge does not have enough power in the beginning to one-shot these guys, so you need that pike ball to get that extra damage, hoping for a drop there. And rather than waste time hitting them, you just jump over them. Now,
there's the pike ball.
Yeah, now Turkey gets the pike ball. If he wanted those gems from the orcs, he's probably cursing up a storm on his end, going, "Where was that before I got this? This far." But not much else. So this time the scarecrows are being a little more stingy.
Not on both sides, apparently. Not even gem, technically. Ooh, that's low for both.
Yeah, so this is going to set up for a 3 shopping route for Turkey for sure. He's going to go with regular fare of the 3 pirate flares super pike ball. And the super pike ball purchase is indeed for the spider boss on Spiderweb Island that we saw in the prior run. It's just the best tool for the job as it relates to dealing with that one. So I would anticipate we see the 3 shop route coming from Turkey this time rather than 2. And 17 Bird, I don't think he's adopted 2 shop routing techniques quite yet. So he'll be following pretty standard protocol as well.
Yeah, now we hope for some better luck with the drops of these crabs and the mermaid here.
Yeah, generally, I don't think either one of these runners kill that mermaid consistently. I mean, her chance to drop the monster milk is super, super low, and her bubble shield drop chance isn't all that much better. 17 Bird does actually kill her, but only gets a gem for his trouble, which is still better than nothing, but it's kind of runner's choice. I don't know that it's faster one way or the other, to be honest, because the damage booster where you still have the pausing of Shantae taking the hit versus just scimitaaring her down very quickly in that very tight space. So I think it's runner's choice there.
Oh, he only not going for the cut. He only did 3 pauses.
Yeah, I think that was intentional. I mean, obviously, if you miss the cut, you don't trigger the cut scene. You fall back down, you have to wait, load the prior screen, jump back up to load the screen again. I mean, you run the risk of losing a lot of time there. So
yeah, that's close for Bird though. I think 3-4 pixels.
About 3-4 pixels off there. I mean, again, both runners at least getting the pause save for that, so no big damage there for either one. In a race format, maybe you don't risk it as much to try to force that cut like you would in a PB attempt. So I can't fault the runner, especially Turkey, for maybe not pushing the issue too much on his end.
So you think a petrify spell still petrifies?
One of these days it's got to work, right? And I'm feeling good about this one. I think the petrify spell, we're finally going to get to reunite our 2 lovers. Or I could be wrong.
Well, they are reunited in a way, probably not the way we both expect, but on both ends.
If you take a watch on Turkey's screen as he enters this dungeon, I mean, that pile of dust right there, that's totally not them. I still hold this firm belief that only their outsides were petrified, and when they landed there, it broke open the cast, and they quickly ran off because they were so happy to see each other.
Well, it would make sense why they actually are alive in the next game, aren't they?
You see them in the credits, actually. I don't think you see them in the next game.
I have to look for them again.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just come up with weird theories with this game just a little too much. I maybe played it for too long, I don't know. But at any rate, again, we're going to do our visit to this retro dungeon as Trent kind of described in the prior race. This is a throwback to Dribble Fountain? Dribble Fountain. Yeah, that's the name of the Drizzle Fountain, that's it. This is the first dungeon from the Game Boy Color one. The layout is exactly the same. The only updated sprites are obviously the monsters and some minor changes because the platforming in that game is a little bit different. So to be able to navigate these rooms, but again, we're farming up 2 keys, which again will be used in the Tan-Line Temple escape to save a significant amount of time.
Because hey, who doesn't actually? Why do we do that? I actually want to see Shantae in that cute outfit a bit longer.
Yeah, you know, there are some people that consider that the favorite part of their game. There's others that prefer the Run Roddy Top section. I'd like to skip both personally. Unfortunately, even in the out of bounds category, we can't get past Run Roddy Tops, but at least we avoid Tan-Line Temple entirely, which is kind of nice.
Indeed,
All right.
it is.
So no monster milks today for either runners on this particular round. Turkey will be handling these wet men in the pretty standard fashion. And just for those curious, we didn't really get a chance to talk about it before. You're wondering why the pogo strats instead of the cannon, you see 4s instead of 5s. The scimitar will hit both of the sprites while they're overlaid, where the cannon would only hit one of them. So it's a little bit faster to do the pogo strats and hit them both, because at least you're dealing damage to both creatures rather than one at a time. True, Majadi, yet, being the key operative word. I know that you, sir, are extremely engaged at it, trying to find a way. And hopefully you do. I mean, that's a floating bounty that's been out there for years and years.
Yeah.
And the hero of this game will be the one that finds the Run Roddy Top stick. For all eternity, and we'll even make a statue of that particular person. Maybe.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to the game for that.
The other thing is, hey, get us a consistent setup as well, please.
Yeah. All right. So both runners having no problems again with the Cyclops plan. Again, we're only just a few seconds apart here, and a sub 13 kill is really good. So. Once more, these runners showing what their capabilities and both on a really good pace through our first dungeon. So well played to both of them there, having no trouble dispatching that eyeball monster.
Yeah, as both now go on the way to the Spiderweb Island again and play their favorite part of this game again. We both know, I know by both. They totally tell me every time I talk with them about that. It's by far their favorite thing in the world. And if I sound sarcastic, who knows?
No.
Maybe I am.
No, man, I don't think you are. And if you haven't already at this point, I mean, these guys are both phenomenal runners this game. Highly recommend you drop them a follow. In fact, I will drop a command in chat so you just get the free links to press and go give these guys a follow. And then you can just go into their chats next time that they're online and ask them, hey, Run Roddy Tops is indeed your favorite part of Shantae the Pirate's Curse, right? And see how they respond. But at any rate, so using the Pirate Gear to our advantage here, we didn't really talk about this in the last race. Grabbing this fossil is a little bit of a sequence break. You're normally meant to come back here later after you get the scimitar or the cannon to be able to get that for the later part of the... I'm sorry, the scimitar. You have to get it before then, just because of story. But getting it now because the Pirate Gear allows us to do that certainly is a bit of a time save some backtracking later. And it's kind of a nice respite and really getting your mind steeled for Run Roddy Tops, which Turkey is just beginning, as well as 17 Bird. About a screen difference between these two right now.
It has to mean something. Gatekeeper can be a very, very interesting fellow.
Yeah, he was kind to Turkey this time, didn't troll him this time, and we know Turkey's playstyle. He's one to not stop for Gatekeeper, no matter how many times he gets hit. He's just like, I'm going to keep trying. Had a little trouble with the tongue skips there towards the latter part of the end of the room, though. So, that 17 Bird, though, is getting gatekeeped by Gatekeeper. Took 2 there before finally sneaking through, and getting lucky sneaking that 1 off when he missed it. It's usually a generally bad idea to try to force a tongue skip if you don't get it. He got away with 1 there, so well played by him.
Yeah, many runners actually recommend not pushing for that because the hitbox of the tongue is active and it's actually very large.
Yeah, and unfortunately 17 Bird getting kind of the rough end of the stick there as it relates to the cycles of these pillars, had to wait that 1 extra cycle because the first one there was down or was coming down just as he got in there. So missing some tongue skips, it feels like that happens more often than not. Whereas getting all of them, it seems more favorable. So I don't have any real basis on that. I hate to say, it's just it is what it is. You just kind of deal with the cards that you're dealt in this particular case, and no problem there. You just manage it and move forward. As Turkey's now avoiding gravestone crabs. I really don't think they're called creepers officially, if I'm not mistaken. I forget.
I can look up too.
Yeah, you might want to. You might want to fact check me on that one. I can't remember exactly what they're called. But getting the mandatory swag stake jump out of the way, and a second one for good measure, just in case we didn't notice the first one. So, again, we know who a true winner of this race is in our hearts already. Ooh, 17 Bird there was kind of fishing out a little bit. Just risking it by not jumping over the first one, or maybe had a jump input in there, but fortunately didn't get trolled and avoided taking in an unnecessary time loss there, staying out of the way of those particular ones as Turkey begins his trek through the Kissy Robot Room. And notably, this is one of the longer I say the second longest room of Run Run Roddy Tops. It's not particularly dangerous, it's not threatening. These guys are very easy to dodge. You technically outrun them as long as you're able to make your jumps. You won't have any issue with them, but if you do happen to take a death in this room, it's the most punishing because of how long it is. And again, any death you take in a room, it takes you back to the beginning of that room. So you want to avoid that at all costs there, especially in a room like that one, which is just so long and winding.
Yeah, as we go over to Stevens again. Thanks, Cabbage, for giving us that name. It's a beautiful name, working fittingly. And my sources actually tell me that are called fake graves.
Fake graves. Okay, well that seems rather obvious.
Right.
All right, Turkey getting the gates of hell open for him, so getting a favorable spike cycle there at the end of that. Able to get right on through, does his taco jump just fine, saving himself just another half second there, and making it into the final room. We'll make sure that he doesn't get trolled there, as 17 Bird unfortunately has the gates of hell closed for him. And a little trolling by the mini Stevens there. Had to kind of wait some things out, and he's still not very favorable there, but wisely just deciding to play it safe, wait some things out there to get through there without taking any damage. Turkey not getting the pincer of doom at the end there, the hug of death as we like to call it, by those fake graves. Thank you. And getting out of Run Run Roddy Tops, avoiding the most dangerous creature, the Tinkle Bat, the Cackle Bat at the end there, which is obviously the hardest part of Run Run Roddy Tops.
Indeed. It's by far the one that costs the most time if you get hit by him.
Right. A whole whopping second or two.
Hey, a second or two is a lot.
Fair. All right, so both runners escaping Run Run Roddy Tops finally and are on their way. Turkey, again, handing over that squid oil to help Poe repair the wagon. As Trent alluded to, squid oil doesn't hold wheels together. He had no problem with that end. But those wheels needed some grease and to turn, and squid oil just happens to fit the bill. And we get our next shriveled thing check. It still smells.
How does the game know that? Like, it still smells. Like, why?
The reason we point out that text box so much, if you're wondering in chat, is because that's one of the few text boxes in the game you can't just skip. You have to wait for it to appear and disappear. You can't make it happen any sooner. It's just one of those things. So we just like to point out that Way Forward wants us to know that shriveled thing indeed smells. And
yeah, mostly only tutorial screens are the things we can, like, skip or maps. But this thing is that important, apparently, that we can't skip it.
Yeah, fair point. You get when you're picking up the pirate gear, it's telling you what button you need to press to use said piece of pirate gear. That's when you can't normally skip text, but that particular one just had to be that same way. Turkey getting that lucky pipe ball drop there right at the very end again as he goes into the Batgirl room here. Again, it's going to hope for some good drops on this particular one. Super Monster Milk, that's what he was looking for. So, of the three drops that we get, that's the one he was definitely wanting.
I still argue the flare is still the best.
Well, I would know from first-hand experience, Trent. I mean, I get it a lot, but I'd rather see a Super Monster Milk myself, even though I get the flare 95% of the time.
For a 20% drop or something?
Yeah, but it's 100% drop when I'm playing.
Oh!
So, speaking of the Nori flare, 17 Bird landing himself that flare. So it's not a technically bad drop. It's not the ideal one, but you have some options when you pick that up. So that flare, you could change your shopping, save yourself a few gems there in that regard. You wouldn't have to worry about purchasing one during the 3 shop route that both of these runners are going to be using in this particular case. You could save yourself a few seconds by not talking to Abner when you do the revisit for Joe's Soul. And so it saves you just a few seconds of time as well. So we'll see what 17 Bird really kind of opts for in that regard. As Turkey finishes his climb to the tower and starts his fight with the Empress Spider.
Yeah, or you can delay your shopping, what I would do personally, as Turkey tries to kill the spider, tries to stay in the hitbox of it, like we explained. When you get hit, you get your cannons reset, and we can basically stay in there and try to kill the spider with the pike balls.
Yeah, Turkey dropped out a little bit. The spider moved very wide, but he recovered it very well, and most importantly, again, did not use his auto potion. So, very good fight done by TKY, and now we're going to see what happens with 17 Bird side. Ooh, unfortunately, mistiming the whip there to get the stun lock in midair takes the knockback. He's going to recover this pretty well, the spider actually being kind coming towards him, and he'll get back in there and do that, but he's got to be... Okay. Wasn't sure if he was going to get enough damage before triggering his auto potion, but does an extremely good job recovering that. And again, we're still very, very close between these two. I mean, we know RNG's kind of been a little less kind to these two runners this time around, but they're keeping up pace with each other, which is still fully expected.
Well, now we see how RNG likes them, because this is 10-Line Island, and on this island, RNG is king.
Yeah, when you talked about skipping a shop there, this is probably the point that I would make that determination, this first visit. Depending on what these cactuses give, would kind of determine whether or not I do that. Turkey would probably think about it now that he's gotten a Monster Milk and a Bubble Shield, which is exactly what you'd like to see on that charge to those cacti. So, well done on RNG side for Turkey. They're giving him pretty much what he's looking for. If 17 Bird gets the same, that's where you'd probably think about doing that skip, because you did get the extra flare that you normally would do in a 2-shop route.
Apparently, it is still the off-season. Apparently 1 hour is not enough.
No, I guess we have to wait longer for the season to be right to make Squid Baron happy here. He doesn't have a thing for Scorp Gals and people in wolf clothing, apparently, so... Unfortunately, he's still very upset and disappointed, goes trotting off, but again, gives us those X-ray specs. 17 Bird, unfortunately, again, not getting much from those cacti. I only saw gems. So that Pirate Flare certainly has its use, but it's not going to help him delay a shop. So I think when we go back to town here, we'll see him get a shop. Ooh, Turkey missing that platforming segment just a little bit. Only a couple of seconds lost there. And no, he's not
whipping the wall.
Yeah, he's not whipping that wall in frustration, so you know there's actually 3 pots hidden in that wall, totaling 30 gems, and he wanted to make sure he got those. That's just part of some of the money collection that we do en route on this particular game, so that we are able to purchase items that we need as we keep going. So just a minor time sink to grab them, but always worth it. Nice Bubble Shield drop on 17 Bird side, by the way.
That's a very great one there.
Yeah, so we can say both runners have what they need for endgame boss.
Oh, look! Oh, I know what's happening. Oh, please,
oh,
no.
We saw this happen again. Please, don't never mind.
Oh.
Pay respects to Joe. Again, fell for the trap of Dad, who wants to make sure his daughter remains single. And fun story tidbit, it is alluded to in this story segment that this is not the first time something like this has happened. So apparently Sky has had boyfriends before, and either mom or dad has had some say about that. So poor Joe. Never forget.
Yeah, well, at least I can agree. In the last hour, it happened twice.
I wasn't paying attention. Let me just take a look at the replay. Looks like Turkey bought 5 Pirate Flares, so he's going to bank on a little bit of RNG on the way back through. Cacti not giving him anything, so he's going to need a little bit of love from the skeleton charge here, as well as some monsters in the upcoming dungeon. I think I saw a super in there, but he got an immediate pike ball right after. But the text box size looked like it was going to be a super monster, or super pike ball, I mean.
S-Bird actually bought 2 potions and 5 pirate flares.
Okay, so he's going definitely for some animation skips and the 5 pirate flares to set him up for the rest of the run. Which is interesting to buy 5, because that actually gives him 1 extra than he needed, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Yeah, so he'll have 1 extra flare. It'd be interesting to see if he decides to do everyone's kind of, especially Esco, the resident game breaker of this game, his favorite trick, and save an infinite amount of negative time by flaring off the Lonely Grave as he gets a super pike ball on his way back out from picking up Branson's sword there, or the enchanted blade. And Lionfish Lion, no birds for Bird, but Turkey got Bird in his code with Bird Gator Gator.
Yeah, indeed. As I have to say to Bird, he got actually a monster mug from the cacti on the way in.
He did, okay. That'll be useful.
Just to put everyone on the same page.
Fair. Okay, Turkey and Metal Gear Shantae, the Timeline Temple Escape. Again, captured, being mistaken for the princess. And having all of his gear, inventory, and clothing, or at least a good chunk of it, taken away in preparation for her coronation. But we really don't want to be a princess, so we're going to, again, sneak our way out here. And this can be one of the more devastating parts of the run if you do take a capture. I'll be interested to see if he decides to go for some extra money here. It does not appear that Turkey is in the mindset of gathering money for any additional shopping at this point. Ooh, I thought that jump was early, but he's good.
Oh.
All right, last one. All right, he's out and safe, so no major time losses for Turkey, making his escape handled out very, very well. 17 Bird, handling that vertical room, which can sometimes be a bit of a troublesome if you don't quite do it right. But getting through it, no problem. We'll see how his last guard room goes, as Turkey is now freeing all of our friends who also have shared a similar fate to Shantae, as being mistaken as a princess. Dressed up as a princess. Oh, God, I thought that 17 Bird was going to get caught again.
My heart.
Yeah, mine too. That jump actually saves him, because, again, these guys have supreme tunnel vision. They only see on a plane. And for whatever reason, jumping will help you alleviate some of the being caught there, and getting back in the shadow before you land is a way of circumventing being seen there. So it's still scary to watch.
Yeah, it was. As we go back to all 3 very, very good friends who are here because of reasons. Risky at the dock, obviously.
Yep.
Sky was searching here because the sarcophagus was from here, so she wanted to lift the curse somehow. Yep. And Roddy Tops just wanted to be on an adventure, just like Shantae.
Yeah,
and follow her.
Shantae and have some fun there. But the real princess returns. That's who they thought she was. She's only been at the store for 30 minutes. And, I mean, the princess apparently just forgot to tell people, hey, I'm going to the store, I'll be back soon. Instead, they decide, oh, well, our princess has been gone for a long time. We need a princess, and it's you. And according to the old man there, this happens all the time. Quick inventory check there from Turkey. That's a free time to do that. While the opening sound plays on that particular part, you can open up the menu, take a look, and kind of take stock of what you got, and it doesn't cost you any time.
Okay.
So thank you, Sound Defense, for that information.
I'm surprised. I thought he got a super pike ball.
I thought so too, but apparently he did not. It's so hard to catch when there's random, rapid drops throughout that charge. You don't always get to see exactly what it is. You kind of get a feel, but you could be wrong. And this is a good time to validate it. And yeah, he's probably a little short. So I anticipate him maybe going full right here.
No,
bubble shield. He's going to go straight down. So he's going to deal with the items that have been dealt. He's going to be navigating down this purple block room, getting nothing from the cacti again. 17 Bird is now making his way there. There's a Monster Milk drop from Turkey in the Gauntlet room, so that'll help. Although he's still looking for Super Pike Ball, so that's what he's going to hope he gets from these two Scorp Gals.
First one isn't that nice.
And a Monster Milk, so Turkey's going to be going very low Pike Ball strats here. I mean, he's, again, a very accomplished and known runner of this game and has dealt with these bosses in many different configurations. He's probably not worried about the fact that he doesn't have a Super Pike Ball. It's just preferable.
Yeah, as to mention, in the cacti room with the purple blocks, the first two cacti actually gave birth to 2 Monster Milks.
Oh, nice. And then he got that bubble shield there and then a Super Pike Ball as well. So Bird's starting to get a little bit of an inventory working in his favor there. He's probably at least happy to see a few things happening for him here. Turkey is now working on our good pal Squid Baron there, getting him on cycle, so he's got a free chance to wail on him here while Squid Baron decides he's going to eat some tasty meal and try to heal up that HP right after Shantae cracks open his shell here.
Yeah, Bird actually has in the inventory 3 Super Pike Balls and 3 Monster Milk.
Yeah, he's going to be very happy with that. He doesn't have to do a lot of shopping here towards the end, so he can just focus on execution and getting through the remainder of the game without needing to farm up any gems for any items that he might be lacking at this point. I mean, he's still got 3 bosses to go after this, so he probably still needs a little bit of help, but it certainly alleviates a lot of the stress when you realize, hey, I don't need to farm up, 150 gems or 200 gems because of what I need.
Yeah, 75 should be enough for the 1 Super Monster Milk he will probably buy for Steel Maggot or Pirate Master.
Yeah, you definitely want it for those later bosses because of the high HP pool that they have, and the Monster Milk just helps a lot to just melt that down. I mean, there's other techniques and whatnot that you can leverage, so 17 Bird not quite getting the most optimal kill, but still getting very, very well handled on Squid Baron and moving forward. Turkey's now just doing his little side return to Scuttletown to pick up this Death Mask that he will need in order to progress forward through the Mud Bog and Village of Lost Souls area.
Yeah, as we get the Death Mask by Bolo, we gave him the X-ray specs, and now he looks smart, according to him.
And he feels smart. I mean, it was a very detailed analysis if you actually read the text there. I mean, very, very smart sounding. He knew exactly what he was talking about there. The problem is that doesn't translate over to his next upcoming job, which we'll talk about here after this particular island is completed by our runners.
Yeah, this section, if you don't have the pirate equipment, oh boy.
It's not that bad. I mean, as a long veteran of normal mode runs, this island isn't that bad in normal mode either. It's all about just like in pirate mode. It's all about patterns and knowing when to do jumps and whatnot to get through it without too much trouble. But yeah, any casual player coming in here blind, you probably had a lot of problems with it. I know I did my first time. I'm sure everybody else did at some point too.
Oh yes.
But Turkey navigating it no problem. Looks like Bird is going to take some opportunity here to hit a few of these beetles, and I don't blame them. They do have a chance of dropping a Super Pike Ball, I believe, or a Monster Milk. Maybe it's a Monster Milk. Trying to get the Momentumless Boots there. Unfortunately, not quite getting it. But he's definitely aiming for these beetles on purpose. So he's really hoping for one extra RNG drop that would help him just on kind of complete his cause of getting everything that he needs for the rest of the run here.
Yeah, I think he was looking for Monster Milks or Bubble Shields, maybe?
No, he's already got his Bubble Shield for the run, unless he'd like the extra for Steel Maggot. I think he's actually looking for the Pike Ball drops or Monster Milk. Because they have a chance of dropping a Super Pike and I think a regular Monster Milk. Ooh, getting hung up just by a pixel. Trying to get that coast through the room there. So we'll be starting his collection of the coins. Turkey is now coming up to the red and final coin that he'll need for everyone's favorite game of heads and tails.
Very skillful.
Get your bets in chat now regarding how many cycles you think it'll take.
1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, pretty much. It's more like a lot of the runners that have been watching have taken it on to do actual like patterning, saying heads, tails, heads, tails. tails, heads, you know, like they're actually trying to predict. Moni's
Yeah.
gonna go off the cuff and just say immediate heads here. Nope, looks like that's already a losing one.
This looks. Oh, okay. At least a very quick.
Yeah, so Turkey will employ the failsafe. This will be the 4th cycle, but at least getting the least trolly of those variants. So 3 immediate tails just means that your 4th go through will be all heads, and move him on forward. So it's not the most optimal, but you still like to see that over the alternatives. Yeah, so it's a total of 6 flips, as Majadi points out in chat. So you'd rather see that than being passed forward, having a tails pop up when you don't want it on either the green, and especially not the red gamer, and being set back to the start. So very favorable RNG in that regard. Let's see what happens with 17 Bird here.
Interesting pause threats.
Yeah, that's overmash. That's classic overmash is what that is.
Oh.
Wow, Green Gamer being the troll today. Just mean to both of our runners last one. This time being extremely mean to 17 Birds. So that'll cost him a little bit of time, unfortunately. You know, again, not anything you can do about it. It's 50-50% RNG across the board. Fortunately, again, that failsafe exists. So going the 4 cycles, the 4th cycle would be a guaranteed win. So 17 Bird will indeed be moving forward as Turkey begins his navigation of the Oubliette Suffering, getting ready to break this dungeon wide open with the Risky Shuffle. Having a little trouble getting it going there. There's like a bump pixel, or like an invisible pixel there that seems to mess with the Risky Shuffle, I've noticed.
I thought it was you can't start it on the elevator.
It could be that too. I mean, either the elevator platform throws it off, or there's just something there that it kind of messes with it. So it took a little extra longer than it should have, and I believe Turkey's just going to go with kind of the lower end, but still have some buffs in it. Last time he went Super Pike Ball, no Monster Milk. This time I think he's using a regular Monster Milk, regular Pike Ball. So
yeah,
he's going to be aiming for about a 3 to 4 cycle Dagron here, in the hopes that he doesn't miss any particular cycles, just to kind of keep this going. So far, off to a really good start, especially getting that ascent damage, which is the important part of keeping this down. But he's going to get that 4th cycle just barely. Yeah, it was only a couple of hits. So
yeah.
Well fought, though, considering the items given to him and how difficult that boss can be. Ooh, 17 Bird. Accidentally triggering that. Yeah,
this elevator.
You might be onto something there with the elevator, for sure.
Everyone hates him. Elevator.
All right, we'll see how 17 Birds elevator goes as Shantae on Turkey's screen ate that map. She's done handing it over. She just was hungry and wanted to eat that map. No, it was Turkey just doing an animation skip there for the collection of that. And looks like he's going to do, he's doing the same setup. He's got a regular Monster Milk and a regular Pike Ball and 17 side Aegon.
Let's see if he gets a 30 cycle.
He's off to a decent start. I mean, he's handled it very well. He had that early short pattern, but adjusted to it. Not quite the 3 cycle as well. It's very hard to get a 3 cycle in this particular configuration. So getting a 4, taking no damage, and not letting that fight get out of control is still very well done. So 2 equally good fights from 2 equally good runners when it comes to Dagron. As Turkey will start doing his part on Frostbite Island. And we didn't get a chance to really talk about this, Trent. Could you kind of fill the audience in on Frostbite a little bit?
Yeah, Frostbite Island is basically the very, very cold island, hence the name. Basically, on this island are several guys, here Techno Baron and Ammo Baron, plotting their next coup to destroy the palace. And on this island are wolves. These wolves are actually the single normal mobs that have the highest damage output. They do 6 points of damage, which is 1.5 hearts. And we only have 2 hearts, so tanking them is not a fair option. And yeah, as you can see, the designers of WayForward had the boots and the cannon already in mind, because these screens look so good with this. And as he's right now climbing up the chains up to Propeller Town to traverse to that, and he's not setting up apparently.
Yeah, and it looked like he took an opportunity to try to get that 1% drop this time, just like last time, but unfortunately not getting anything for the reward. 17 Bird also opting to do the same thing. And the one thing I'll point out about what both those runners are doing with these wolves and trying to kill them is it's rather dangerous because there's one real true final boss of this game, and that final boss is corners, as 17 Bird mistiming an extra cannon shot there, accidentally double mashing, got caught, had to kind of reset up for his risky charge. But going back to corners, those things, even if it's like a ledge and there's trees in the background, actually do have platforms on them. And if you clip the corner just wrong, that corner will bring you to a dead standstill. And it makes it particularly dangerous, especially on some of these streams, because those diagonal slopes have ice physics, and you will slide right back down and usually into the mouth of one of those wolves waiting. And Trent said, 6 points of damage. It's very punishing to take a hit from one of those. So you've got to be very, very careful with your platforming there, especially if you're going to do the strats of trying to get the item from a wolf. Again, it's very risky for a very low RNG chance. And both runners doing a phenomenal job of it there. Turkey only having that one miscue, which fortunately didn't cost him any health. And now begins his way through Propeller Town as Turkey, as he likes to say, worships the bolo. And will be on his way to do his fetch quest by returning to Spiderweb Island to take that soul that we got as a reward for completing the Oubliette of Suffering, to get that identified, because who best to know about the dead than the dead? And Abner and Roddy Tops will certainly help us identify who this particular lost soul could be.
That's a difficult one. Let's see. Who could that be? There's Abner, getting the soul, thinking, drawing the mustache on, and it's Joe.
Yeah, but that's just as a lot of people say, that's the funkiest fresh mustache you'll ever see. So yeah, we definitely know by that mustache that it definitely belongs to Joe at this point. So there's actually some pretty entertaining dialogue that goes along with that. I highly recommend that if you play it casually, you definitely read that dialogue that happens during that part, because we find out some very interesting things about Joe in that. And
not talk about here.
No, but I would just say I'd recommend you play the game, read that dialogue, because it's definitely worth a laugh. Ooh, Turkey getting that nice monster milk drop on the way through skeletons again. I don't know that he was in need of it per se, but it's still good to have. I mean, he did again go for those wolves, so a regular monster milk is probably not terrible. He's probably breathing a slight sigh of relief here as rip.
Will he adjust?
Yeah, that'll be the question now, is will he adjust? Because he did not get his favorite trick here. As we give that sword to legally distinct Chinese knockoff He-Man, he will not adjust.
Oh god. The judges aren't happy.
Yeah, at least he got the steak jumps during Run Roddy Tops, but not adjusting for his favorite trick. I think he's feeling pressure. I think he thinks that 17 Bird is right on his tail, and I would make that same assumption as well in his shoes. I mean, 17 Bird is not your average runner, and he's very aware of who his opponent is. So not taking that few extra second or two to get in position for his favorite trick, I don't fault him for not doing it.
I had the pleasure to race against Bird, and I can tell you, that guy, you never think he's close behind you. You more have the feeling he's close in front of you.
Yeah. You feel like you might be playing catch up 17 Bird a lot. As also 17 Bird not getting the trick either. So Majadi, we will now negate that 10-minute time penalty because neither runner got it, so it's a wash, and no penalties will be assessed today. Sorry. Turkey's still going for these wolves in the hopes of getting one more drop, and unfortunately being denied. Does get a few gems for his trouble, so if there's anything he's lacking for the Pirate Master at the end, but I doubt that he would want to go into the shop for anything else at this point and waste, upwards of 12 seconds for menuing time.
Yeah, Bird right now reviving Joe, and Joe immediately breaks up with our friend Sky because apparently he can still think while he's petrified.
Yeah, I guess petrification doesn't stop your mind from working, and after all that time spent there, kind of soaking over the fact that one, Sky's dad just basically turned him to stone, and two, having it, just all that time to think, he's like, you know what, plenty of fish in the sea, I'm out of here, and immediately goes back to work for the ammo baron, getting that cannon ready to fire. Which, by the way, Bolo, for those X-ray specs and being super smart, apparently doesn't know how to do electronics properly. That targeting module being installed upside down, inside out, and backwards, as the text dialogue would say, makes that shot aimed for the palace miss significantly and blows that. Well, I mean, it's only the next island, well, 2 islands over, but still, when you consider the direction it was from the island's positioning, that's a pretty big miss.
Who says we never wanted to shoot there?
Yeah, fair enough. Turkey going with using that extra bubble he got in the run here to kind of negate that bullet spray from that. By the way, those bullets do 4 points of damage or 1 heart, so they're not super dangerous here. He's having a little trouble with these codes, but he's getting it okay. He's using a regular Pikeball Super Monster Milk. Still able to get the 2-cycle, although had a little bit of trouble with the combinations there. Still a very well-handled fight by Turkey, regardless. So his pace is very phenomenal here. I mean, it's a low 47 kill of the Steel Maggot. I almost said Ammo Baron for some reason. That's a phenomenal pace he's on right now. He's pushing for another sub 51.
He's going for 50 to 51 again. Wow, that's impressive back to back.
Yeah, I mean, his world record time is 50 minutes and 20 seconds. He's showing why he's on the top of the leaderboards, because he puts up these times very consistently throughout the entire span of the group stages. He was averaging 51s, and most of those runs were extremely low 51s. So, on top of the no matter what RNG is dealt to him, he still whips out these extremely low times, and it's just a testament to the amount of time that he's put into this game. So, wow, good codes on Bird's side there. Getting really quick cycle as he's going to go all out on this one with the Monster Milk Super Pike Ball. That's an easy 2-cycle. Well handled by Bird.
Steel Maggot.
Yeah, he's made up a little bit of ground there, and this race is now a little bit tighter than it was just a couple of minutes ago. Turkey struggled with his fight a little bit. You'd imagine what his pace was on if he'd have been able to get codes that fast. But Turkey right now is going to be heading to the difficulty platforming extraordinaire known as the Pirate Master's Palace Climb, or Tower Climb. He's going to opt to hop in the shop here really quick, so I don't think he's happy. I think he wants 1 buff.
Yeah.
He wants a Super Monster Milk. So he basically burned that one there. He's going to waste the 12 seconds to get in the shop, do that menu, and get out. But now, feeling much more comfortable about his chances against our final boss here, he's now going to be making that charge in. 17 Bird will be doing his cutscene to get the Pirate Master awoken. I think he had another thing in mind and was just missing 3 gems. So I think I don't know what he wanted 3 of them for him. He's only got the 1 bus. Oh, he wanted the Super Pike Ball too.
Ooh.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that makes sense. That may happen. Now he's probably said that he now has 40. As he's climbing the tower, and will he choke?
Yep, he's having a little trouble here on this one. I mean, this trick is it's not as easy as these runners made it look in the first run. This is an extremely precise amount of platforming. You have to get those cannon strikes timed at the most optimal peak of that. If you drop any 1 or 2 pixels, you're likely to miss it, and that hat only gives you so much leeway. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 pixel leeway overall throughout the entirety of the jump sequence to still be able to land it. So not surprising to see some misses, even if someone of his caliber, it just happens. And you just have to kind of keep moving forward, but still a really good climb overall, only having 2 falls there at the beginning, but then getting himself kind of reined in as 17 Bird, hot on his heels, will begin his climb as Turkey begins his fight with the final boss, Pirate Master, for this semi-final victory.
Yeah, but we have to see. Pirate Master can be very tricky sometimes.
Scary. Super Monster Milk helps, but the regular Pike Ball is kind of the detriment here. It's almost worth not even having in this regard, but every little bit of DPS you can do, because 2,000 hit points is a lot to melt through. He's got his auto potion still, which is good. He's face tanking these shots from the Pirate Master on purpose just for the extra DPS opportunity. So he's playing it what would look like aggressively and risky, but not so much to stop him from doing that, and finishes in first place here, just as 17 Bird gets to the boss with an official SRL time, 51 minutes, 4 seconds. Again, extremely phenomenal run by Turkey, and will claim the second win and the semifinals match, sending him forward to the finals to face Majati, who established his spot back on Thursday. So GG's Turkey.
GG to Turkey, and now we watch how Bird's going to defeat this friendly fella.
He just wants a hug. It's really all the Pirate Master wants is a hug. It's like Ganon. You gotta give him a hug. Well fought by 17 Bird. Really good one. There only one hit left after the spinal phase. Well handled, and finishing in second place, 51 minutes, 46 seconds per SRL. So well done by Bird. I mean, you know, he may have lost these races, but he still put on a heck of a show and really great times. Not many in the community and as a whole are able to run at that pace. So well played to him. He just kind of got bested by Turkey today, which you kind of expect, but you really, you know, I think everyone knows 17 Bird has a chance against Turkey. He's one of the few that can do that. But you know, today, the better bird won. One of the better birds.
It was a turkey.
Yeah, today was a turkey, not just the whole flock. And we'll see if we can get them in here for some interviews. I see Turkey is ready, so if you're ready, Trent, I will bring him in, and I'll keep an eye out for 17.
Let's have a turkey.
All right, let's have some turkey then. Hello, Turkey.
Hello.
Congratulations on your semi-finals win and advancing to the finals.
That was a bit of a session there. Christ.
GG.
Thank you, appreciate it, man. Oh. Those scarecrows gobsmacked me at the beginning of the first run. I was like, wait, they actually give you stuff?
Yeah, you were getting some god RNG on that first run. That was going to be kind of my first question there for you, is because that opening of the first race, you were getting everything under the sun in the beginning, and then the well dried up. But not too much to keep you from, you know, plan. It looked like you were adjusting to it just fine, but wanted to get your overall impression, you know, of both your runs, actually. I mean, the first one especially, but, you know, that was the fastest time put up in the tournament, by the way, to 50:40. To date, I know it's not quite your world record pace, but it's only 20 seconds, so give us your impressions.
Well, certainly won't complain of that. Yeah, the RG started off very well. Hammer Baron was a little subpar, but nothing over the top. Yeah, as you said, it dried up in the mid game, which is kind of like, oh, okay, I'm probably gonna have to take a third shot. But I mean, the Wolves gave me some stuff which I was hoping for, but I was kind of hoping for the milk. But no, another 2 super pipe balls setting me up for the end game, and just quickly delve into the shop, pick up what I need, and I was off. I was actually surprised I managed to run that pace. The second run, I was actually on a better pace for a good portion of it, just the item management didn't quite set up well. I was tempted to take a gamble on Steel Maggot and go with the 2 weakest items, but backed out in the end because it's a tournament race. I don't want to potentially cost myself time, and
fair
let
enough.
Bird back in because his ability is mental. So
fair enough. I mean, when we saw you kind of farming out, we figured that there was something you really wanted. Didn't quite happen from an RNG perspective, so you had the gems for it, but not quite what you were looking for. I know you really wanted that super pike ball too, and only had to deal with the super monster milk, but you still handled it very well. So again, congratulations on the wins and the great races. And looks like we've also been joined by 17 Bird. 17 Bird, howdy.
Howdy.
Okay, so, you know, good runs. I mean, absolutely phenomenal runs. I mean, keeping pace with TKY is no easy feat, and you've done a fantastic job of that. You know, I'd say RNG didn't help you out really in either particular case, but would like to get your impressions as well as to how you felt your runs went today.
Well, I don't want to talk about the first run, obviously. Some terrible mistakes there. But as for the second run, I'm okay with it. I don't think RNG was anything special. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great either. It was about average. I think there were some mistakes I made, like missing Catacombs one cycle, and what else was there? I don't think my Run Roddy Tufts was all that great. It really set me behind though.
It's kind of interesting because I think in the first race, Turkey did not make the one cycle crusher, and Gatekeeper was kind of hit or miss on either side, but I didn't see too much wrong with the run right tops. I know the tongue skips were a little bit of a problem for both runners at some point, but overall I thought it was still very well handled in those regards. So I wouldn't be, I'd never kind of shrug off, on what you guys have been able to do for either, any of the runs that you put on display today. So, unfortunately, obviously, 17 Bird, you're not going to go to the finals, but you do have your bronze match. You'll be facing Cake Sauce for third place honors, and still look forward to that. I think that'll be a phenomenal matchup. So, hopefully, you're up for those particular ones, and we'll put on a good show one more time for us.
Alrighty.
And TKY, I'll ask you, what are your thoughts heading into the finals, going against Majadi, a fellow UK resident, with you for ultimate trophy of fastest in the UK?
Yeah, we've got first Battle of the Birds, now it's Battle of the Brits.
Yeah.
Again, like this match, I've got to run at high level, otherwise I'm going to end up being taken. I mean, the pace that he can run is phenomenal. I mean, even the last... in his semi-finals, he pulled off a 51.14, I think it was, and that's no easy feat as well. So going into that match is going to be very interesting, to say the least. It could very well come down to Stealth Temple, realistically, but see how it goes. Really, I'm looking forward to it for certain.
Yeah, definitely. I think we will be as well. So we don't have a schedule for either our bronze match or these finals yet, but keep an eye on Speed Gaming for that. We'll probably start getting those matches scheduled over the next few days here and get those slated. So keep an eye out here. We've got the championship round of TKY versus Majadi, and then 17 Bird versus Cake Sauce for third place honors. So look forward to that. And if you haven't done so already, again, I'll just implore you, go ahead and follow these runners. We don't have a lot of time. They've got another race that they need to get set up for here. So follow these runners, both 17 Bird and Tky619, both phenomenal runners of this game and other games that they do. Tky being a known runner across the entire Shantae series, and 17 Bird, he loves this game a lot and definitely shines in what he does. And I know, Trent, you haven't said much during this commentary segment. Do you have any further thoughts or any other things you'd like to say, sir?
Yeah, basically, I saw that RNG treated both kinda the same. Sadly, Bird had some unfortunate luck in the beginning mostly, and Turkey mostly in the back section, especially the gamers are his personal new favorite, I would guess.
The first set of games weren't good. Was a bit trolly. The second ones weren't too bad. I think I got 3 tails followed by 3 heads, so I'm happy to settle with that.
Indeed. And the drops itself, yeah. But I think we don't have that much time anymore, do we?
Not really. We've got about 2 minutes for the next scheduled event to happen here. So definitely, again, follow these runners. Follow my co-commentator, Trenter TR. He's still in the middle of the LTTP randomizer tournament, still in the mix there in the Swiss round. So definitely drop him a follow, and also a really good runner of Shantae himself. So definitely show him a little bit of love as well.
Yeah, don't forget my other commentator here as well, JT Norimaki. He's also a very good Shantae runner. He actually was one of the driving forces of this tournament, and like you can all see, this is a great tournament so far. It's not over yet. It will come to an end, sadly, around next week, but who knows? Maybe there are some more in the future.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I really appreciate the community coming together. More importantly, I'd like to thank Speed Gaming for all of their work and the volunteers behind the scenes making this happen as well. So On top of following everyone involved with this tournament, definitely drop follows to the Speed Gaming channel family of channels, and show your extra support to keep it rolling at the pace it is by either subscribing or donating bits to the channels. It opens up some extra perks, so definitely look into that as well. And we're at time, so I will bid everyone a wonderful day. Thank you again, Turkey and 17 Bird, for that phenomenal race and showcase of your abilities, and looking forward to more from you guys in the future.
Yeah, cheers for commentating as well, guys. We truly appreciate it.
Yep, GG.
All right, thanks everyone, and again, keep an eye on the schedule for more Shantae. In the meantime, I believe we got an NMG thing to get set up here, so if you're in for some Link to the Past, but not randomized, then hang out. Otherwise, there's lots going on any other channel, so definitely check it out. And take care. We'll see you guys later.